Chapter 22.
A storm is gathering on the horizon. An invasion, decades in the making, is underway.
The next morning, Cam gave Gramps his medication, then laid on the couch where he'd been all day and draped a cool cloth across his own forehead, nursing a monster
By
hangover.
the time you see them, the fight may already be lost.
Relaxing in his blue recliner,
Incredibly,
Gramps took a
there's
bite
really
of
no
his peanut butter and banana sandwich.
An experiment that went terribly wrong. An experiment that gave us.
Cam rolled off the couch. The cloth dropped to the floor. He picked it up and set it on the coffee table. Jags was headed up the walkway. Cam pulled his phone from his back pocket and checked the time. 12:15. Jags must be on his lunch hour.
They've been dubbed killer bees.
Jags bounded in and crouched beside the recliner. He rubbed the top of Gramps' head. "It's Jags, you remember?" Gramps' face scrunched. "What kind of question is that? Of course I remember." He waved Jags off in obvious annoyance and focused his attention back on the television. Cam dropped on the sofa. His forearms braced on his thighs. Jags slid a chair from the kitchen and set it in front of the sofa. Straddling the seat backwards, he balanced his chin on the back. "I need to speak with you about Maggie. I'm not going to like what I'm about to hear." "Why would you say that?" "Because if you were here to tell me Maggie's fucking somebody else, then you'd either be armed or insane. I'm guessing neither. The only other explanation must be she gave you a solid reason why she propositioned a man to make her scream." "She had a reason, but I'm not sure you're going to be happy to hear it. But know this, it's not what you think. If I tell you what it is, you have to promise not to do anything stupid." Cam leaned forward and whispered, "Define stupid." "Kill him." "Can I fuck him up?" "I'm going to say no to that." Cam sank back into the sofa. "You're no fun." "On the contrary, I'm an extremely fun person. I just don't find humor in visiting you behind bars. We're getting off topic. You want to hear it or not?" "Can't be worse than thinking the bastard was between her thighs. So yeah, hit me." "It's actually about Tilly." "Tilly?" "Maggie told me the man flirted with Tilly, and I guess Maggie knew him, and that he wasn't a very nice man. Actually, her words were a little more colorful, but you get the drift. She said he assaulted a friend of hers when she was in high school. She was trying to lure him away from Tilly so Tilly didn't fall to the same fate as her friend." "By sleeping with him?" "Not exactly." Jags rocked the chair on its back legs, bringing them nose to nose. "I need you to reiterate that you won't do anything stupid." "I'm losing my patience." Cam pushed the heel of his hand against Jags's forehead, forcing the chair on all four legs. "Spit it out." Jags sighed. She planned on surprising him with a gun. She planned on killing him.
Dr. Kerr headed to Tanzania in South Africa.
Arriving 10 minutes late, Maggie pulled into Critter's parking lot. She was relieved when Cam called and asked her to meet him. Lifting her new olive and khaki coach purse from the passenger floor, she rummaged through, looking for her cell phone. The passenger door flew open. Based on the enormous size of the person, not a female. He turned on his side and looked at her. Maggie looked at him, one hand frozen inside her purse. The mask hid his face, but she sensed a wide, arrogant smile beneath the black fabric. The windows fogged as her breathing quickened. Why was he just staring at her? Could it be she'd lost her mind? Could this be a nightmare and she'd wake at any moment? He slapped gloved fingers over her mouth. She clawed and kicked as he wrestled her to the back seat with ease. I'm here to make you scream. As he crawled over her, she inched her hand down her body toward the pepper spray tucked into her sock. He clutched her wrist and squeezed until she winced. No, no, wagging his finger. He shook his head. None of that. If she was going down again, she refused to cry like a girl. Maggie spit in his masked face. Fuck you. Why do you think I'm here? To fuck you, then kill you. The genuine sincerity and calm in his words threw her heart into overdrive and her body into convulsions. Tears rained down her face, breaking her promise not to act like a girl. She struggled and writhed, whimpering through gritted teeth. The man pulled her into a sitting position and propped himself over her hips. Her chest heaved, compensating for her erratic gasps for air. With her waist trapped between his knees, he stared at her. A torrent of emotions danced in his dark eyes. Raw fury, a deep, unfathomable sadness, and an agonizing level of frustration. The anticipation of what was to come ate at her. If she had a gun, she'd gladly put it to her head and pull the trigger, ending the torture he inflicted without even touching her. He whipped off his mask. How could you? She squirmed, but he pinned her hands to the leather bench seat. Her chest heaved as she struggled to breathe under his massive weight. Why? Why? Cam stared at her. Her body went limp. Her eyes closed. I will never forgive you. I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing, and I'm sure I don't want to know. She stared out the side window. Don't go near them. She looked at him. What? The fuckers that raped you. I don't want you going after them. I don't want you even talking to them. Get me? I don't understand any of this. You were planning on going after one of them, weren't you? Yes. If you even think about going near one of them, talking to one of them, looking at one of them. He swirled a whiskey-flavored breath across her cheek. How could you, knowing what you know? You needed a reminder of how dangerous a man can be. With a closed fist, Maggie swung, but he caught her wrist and flung it to the side. You're about to find out how dangerous a woman can be. Cam squeezed his red eyes shut and palmed his forehead. He crawled over the seat to the driver's side, pressed a button, gliding the seat backward. After adjusting the mirrors, he turned the key and jumped on the gas. She drummed on his head, slapping him over and over. He reached to the back seat and grasped one of her flailing arms. You're going to get us in an accident. You want to beat the shit out of me? Fine, but wait till we get home. We get home? Take me to my house, not yours. She sagged back in the seat, crossed her arms, and leaned her head against the window. Tears slid down her face, a relentless stream of unending fear mixed with fury. With every minute that passed, her anger escalated. Finally, the car slowed and veered into his driveway.
What?
She opened the car door and stood outside his driver's side window, her hand held out.
Keys.
Cam stepped from the car. He pressed her against the car, his body tight against hers. Trapping her between his arms, he covered her lips with his own. No love in his kiss, only rage. When she jerked aside, he braced her head between his hands. I can't live without you. Don't ever think about doing something so stupid again. He gave her another brutal kiss. Promise me. Maggie stared at him. Cam punched a closed fist into the back window. Promise me. When she nodded, he gripped her upper arms and shook her. Use your words. Cam's trembling hands rivaled that of an epileptic suffering a grand mal seizure. Sweat saturated his dark hair. Lines of red riddled the whites of his empty, dark, soulless eyes. Maggie prided herself on being a strong woman who feared nothing and nobody, but for the second time since she'd met him, she feared him. Her instincts screamed it wouldn't be the last time. Looking him in the eyes, she absorbed the menace, permeating her like water to a sponge. I promise. Saliva sprayed from his tight lips. Again.
I promise.
He stepped back. I think I broke my hand. Can you drive me to the hospital? Maggie placed her hands on his shoulders, smiled, and kneed him in the groin. She slugged him across the face.